So hi guys, in last video we have seen multiple inheritance and hierarchical inheritance. So in this multi-level inheritance and hierarchical inheritance. So in this video we are going to see multiple inheritance. So let's try to implement the multiple inheritance and then we'll see why it's not allowing and what error we are getting. So suppose we have two class, both are independent one. So this one also having show method, yeah. So both are having show method. Now let's try to extend a1 as well as b. No, we can't, because Java is not written in a way we can implement we can extend two class. So we can extend any one of either b or a1, but not the both. We can implement anyone but not the both. So region, suppose this class extending both one, a1 as well as b, and logic is written different in this one also and different in this one also, but function name is this one and signature everything is same for this one and this one. So whenever we'll try to call, like this one is extended a1 as well as b, both are this one and this one both, we will create the object of this class as we are creating here, and then we are trying to call show method. So this show will call this one or this one. This is basically confusion for the compiler. So that's why Java is written in such a way. It's not allowing us to implement multiple inheritance. But suppose we want to implement there are some scenario we have to implement multiple inheritance. In such a way, what we can do, we can create interface. So let's make it I1, I2. So in interface, it will give body is basically this curly braces from this to this. So if we will provide the body, it will throw error because interface does not allow us to write body. So just remove this and it's done. Similar way here also. So it's done. So as of now also we are having show method in interface I1 and I2, both one, but none of this interface have body. So whenever we'll in Java, whenever we'll trying to call any function, that function will be called and their body will be executed, but none of these interface have their body. So there is no confusion for compiler simply if you will think like a compiler simply say, okay, don't, why should I worried about either executing this one or this one, because none of them have body. So signature does not matter, and even signature is same for the both the interfaces. So why should I worried about this thing? So let's allow this thing, multiple inheritance. So now we'll try to implement multiple inheritance. Implements, it's done. Implementation, there is no error in implementation. Now it's error we are getting in this class. What he's saying, unimplemented method. If you are implementing any interface, then compiler will force you to give the definition, that is implementation of this abstract method. Even we are not written here abstract whatever, method is there in the interface that is by default abstract. So when you will implement interface, Java compiler will force you to provide the implementation for this one. So you will try to provide the implementation for this one. It won't ask to provide implementation for both one for interface I1 and another for interface I2. Reason, both are having just as abstract one signature, implementation will be same only. So here whatever implementation we want to give, that we can give. So now we'll try to call, it will create the object, it will run this method, it won't bother about this thing. Let's try to run it. Yeah, it's executed. So this is the way we can implement multiple inheritance, and this is why multiple inheritance is not allowed in Java. One is hybrid. So let's write down two more class. Let's make it B. Yeah, so now this is multiple inheritance. Apart from this, we'll try to use multi-level inheritance. So multi-level inheritance means B is extended by C, yeah, so C is extending B, and now C will be extended by inheritance one class. So there is no error. Now what happening, we are extending C and C class extending B. So one level, two level, यानी कि multi level inheritance with this one, and with interface it's a multiple inheritance. Since show method is in B class, also show method is there, C class also show method is there. Even we will remove this show method, that will come from the B class. Now this method, this function will available here, but we have already provided the definition in local one. So I will try to execute this one. Let's run it first. It's implementing. This one got executed. It's not executing this one. Reason, we have created the object this one, and we have definition of the calling function in the same one. So it want to go to the parent one to check ki either this function is available or not, because object is also this class only, data type is also of this class only, and show function is also of this class only. Suppose if we want provide this function, still there is no problem, because this function is available from C class, and from in C class it's available from B class. So if we now will try to run, it will run from B class. It's running from B class, so there is no problem. Compiler is smart enough to think about this thing. Basically he won't think, but their logic their logic is implemented in such a way that firstly it will go in the current object or their definition type. If it's not available in this one, then it will go to the implementation, their parent one. So this is hybrid inheritance. When we are using this thing, type of inheritance is means which type of inheritance you should select for your class, that completely depends on your requirement, what requirement you have to implement in the current class. But why you have to implement this inheritance, it's completely clear. In real time application, class is not once the class is written, it should not be modified. Means basically we have to write class in such a way that once we will write the class, while writing class, that's okay, we can modify that class as many times as we want. But once the class is written and that is released means it's available to the service, it's running now on production server. So once this will be available for the service, after that we should not allow the changes in the current class. Reason, once we will change a single line also, just suppose we are changing only one line of this function name. So once we will change a small change in the one class, this will impact lots of class used, lots of class that is using this class. So that's why in that scenario what we have to do, we have to change, our requirement is just to change only this one. But because of this, it's a side effect, we can say a kind of side effect is, for this just a small change, side effect is too large. So for that one we have to change all the class that is implementing this class and using these services, we have to change lots of things. So that's why we are not allowing to change once the class is written. We should not allow. We can allow, means we can change, it's not ki you can't change, but you have to know about the consequences. If you will change, what consequences you will face. So if you are ready to bear that consequences, definitely you can change. But it is advisable to not to change the class once it's being written. So suppose if you want to change the name of this class, you can create a separate class and then you can change. Suppose you want to change the logic of this function, you don't want to change name, you want to change the logic. So even you will change the logic, it will impact to the implementing class. So better just create a separate class, extend this class, you will get this feature. And in the extend one, just like overriding, extend this feature in your class and change the logic, whatever logic you want, you can change it according to your requirement. So now what will happen, so in previous version, suppose that version 1 you have written only this class and this class is still there. So whoever is using service, that service is available for this class and there is no change in this class, so he will keep using the same services. But in the new one, who don't want to use this class, this basically this logic, so what he will do, he will use this feature, this class, and function name function name will be same only, but it has different logic. So this logic will execute, who will create the object of this one, and this logic will execute, who will create object of this one. So according to version, code will keep changing. And we have to, if you are writing a project, you have to, if you are writing a code, it's not the complete project, it's a step by step project. So you have to implement codes in such a way कि in later one it should be version management, means it should be extendable. It's not forcing us कि okay, in later one if you want to change some functionality, then we have to forcefully we have to what we can say, change the old code. No, it should not do the same, because it's a lots of consequences will appear for that. In such a scenario, in real time, sometimes it will happen ki, okay, you have written one function that is basically API. There are some more additional things we have to do with function, that is called API. So you have written one API, and that API is not only being used in your application, even that API is being means used for some third guy. Means suppose we are providing public user ki, okay, if you want to access some data, you can call this API, and this API will provide you the data. So in that scenario, some third party guy is using our API. Suppose I have changed a small things in our API. So firstly ki, okay, all the codes that I have written, that I can change, because I know ki, okay, I am going to change this logic, and according to logic, wherever this class is being implemented or wherever this feature is being called, all the places I have to change, I have to make the change. So I will make, because okay, it's a little bit basically difficult things, but still I will try to manage, because I have written the code and I know where I have to make the change. That's okay, so I will make the change. That's okay, it will work for the my application. But think about that third party guy who is using our services. He can't know our code, what code we have written internally. He will say ki, okay, if I'm calling this API, I will get data in this format, and according to their format, their rest of logic will be written. Once we'll change the logic, he will also call the same function, same API, but their response will be different. So that's why it's advisable not to allow a class, not to allow to modify a class once it's being written. So I think inheritance is done in this video, and hope you guys have understood everything. In next video, we will see encapsulation and abstraction. So let's keep it short. Thank you guys.